Yo, what up, guys? Michaela, thanks for the 5, dude. Every time. I swear. You're nuts. Gibu, oh, what's up, bro? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, I decided since I was just hanging out, I might as well throw the stream up anyway. What up, guys? Been enjoying playing WoW a lot recently, and I did some editing earlier today, so thought I might as well hop on and chill out late at night. There we go. Why is my overlay fucked? Okay, hold on. Every time. We're good. We're good. We're good. You got bullied. Oh yeah, did the horde guys come in there and fuck you out of there? Oh, thanks for the sub, Gibu. Appreciate you, bro. What is this music? That is way too much. Hold on. There's 25. Oh yeah, I saw that you got the achievement for the fucking player kill. That's awesome, dude. Called guidelines? Is that like a freaking? Are they saying that they lost because of something in the game? I don't really know how all that stuff works, so. Yeah, we're gonna grind. We're probably gonna do dungeon. I want to do dead mines tonight. Hopefully, just to try to get some gear. My current weapon isn't terrible, but you know, I can get a lot better. I mean, I'm almost level 20 and I still have level 10 hammer, so. But yeah, it's hump day. Hope everybody's having a great night. Great midweek. Crack a seltzer for the boys. Let's see. Alright, just skilling up right now. I'm gonna go back out to the zone. Might want to do a dungeon, like I said. Or might just grind some mobs, do some quests, stuff like that. I want to try to get to level 20 so I can get a mount. Apparently that's where Paladin kind of gets really good, is around level 20. They start just actually be able to do a lot more DPS than I am now. I have the money. I'm just gonna train this shit. I love this city at night. Looks so pretty. Such old time nostalgia vibes. Get a better look. Oh, there was a paladin right there. Kitty. Alright, where am I going? I think I'm going back to Deadmine or Westfall to finish this quest. I have a couple more I can do in the zone. I might try Deadmines then, so we'll try that. Let me know if the music's too loud, guys, too.
These great beasts know paths that you can't find on foot. They'll get you there fast and maybe show you something new at the same time.
Michaela, what are you doing, homie? Michaela with the 50. Thank you so much, son. I appreciate that a lot. That's wild. I'm just here to hang out. It's the only cool sticker. Really? That was the only one, huh? Is that a transforming chair? Is that like a gamer transform? What the hell? That's wild. Really appreciate you supporting the channel, though. It all goes to a good cause. Can we go back to the channel for real? I actually just got a lot of the art back from my my friend. She's making all the art stuff for the channel. Right now, I think she's working on some emojis and stuff that we'll be able to use in chat. So that should be the last step until I can push some more stuff. So we'll have those soon. Hopefully she comes back with some good stuff. And then after that, I'm gonna sit down and edit the video tomorrow. And I might stream like later in the day. Me and Teddy might stream. We might do some other games that are quite fun to just kind of. They're a little bit more spooky aesthetic. They're fun games, so we might play Barrow Trauma or something else. But and then Friday, I'm gonna edit as well in the morning. Then I'll probably stream some Elden Ring later in the day. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm actually doing right now. Is we're getting the channel membership running first. I just need to get all the emojis, all the channel member stuff. So that will be coming very soon. You know, maybe. I mean, if you're gonna throw money at me anyway, I might as well just not put it up, right? Just kidding. Completely kidding. Yeah, Josh, it's awesome, honestly. Like, Gibu, or Gibo, the guy that was in chat earlier when we started, he's actually a part of my WoW guild, and people were asking about my content, and he said, yeah, I'm streaming right now, so I hopped into his stream, you know, dropped a Prime sub, chatted for a bit, hung out. I think we, smaller creators need to support each other, and, you know, if you enjoy people's content, like, I know a lot of people are like, why would you ever donate to somebody? Like, it's their money, let them do what they want with it. It's to support people and their passion and what they want to do, so. I don't think it's a bad thing. Yeah, Gibu. I just need to keep pushing out these videos. Editing is tedious, but I do it for y'all, so. Eventually for streams too, I want to get like a nice setup. Wouldn't mind getting a nice camera, stuff like that. I want to get my room set up better for that type of situation. I don't mind having a face cam and all that. I just want it to look nice and presentable. You know, like I have a camera, but it's like a webcam. It's like a $10 webcam from fucking Walmart. So that's the case too. I need to shave because my beard is unruly right now. I swear. Teach Teddy to edit. I don't think his ADHD would allow him to sit down for 8 hours and edit, to be honest. Don't worry, his AI webcams. Yeah, it's just the webcam that I have right now is it's like 30 FPS at like fucking, I don't know. It's just shit quality. I don't really want that. My channel is more representative of the work I put into it, so I want it to be, you know, look presentable. Do true crime complimentary. AHD crack. I don't know if I could like fight while also doing it at the same time. Do you want me to just pull up a video and just react to it while I'm playing WoW? That could work, honestly. I could do that. I don't mind suggestions at all. I'm just sitting here killing shit, so I'm just gonna take this down. Yeah, Teddy couldn't. Okay, I'm usually not like a crime doc kind of guy, but I'm more of a history documentary or military documentary. But those true crime ones are kind of fucking wild. So. Let's see. Let's get something up. Let's get something up. We'll pull up some true crime shit. Oh yeah, I'm down with it, honestly. I actually watched this guy that I watch quite a bit. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of him, but he has a really good voice. He's also a veteran, so I like to support them too, so. He's got a really good channel and he does some hilarious and wild author stories. Alright, let's see. We'll do this one.
In 2000,
Female Charles Manson, the Wicked Witch of the Midwest. I like the idea of that one. Let me get that off. Go. Opera. Got that. Pop this up. Michaela. Ay, 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 lady. Love you, but damn, there's Michaela with the 10 gift, or the dono of 10. Jesus, just. Oh, shit. No, I mean, you don't have to. You're going to sleep? Alright, Michaela. Well, thanks for popping in. Thanks for the donos. Really appreciate you. Alright, actually, let me pull this up over here. Pull up this chat over here. If I click on this, does that go away? Yes, it does. Okay. Let me see how I can do this. Give me a second, guys. I'm just reorganizing some stuff. Got a large viewer there. Not mini player. Nope, not that way either. We'll just keep it that way.
In a little town in Illinois, 3 people, 2 men and a woman, walked into this strange living room inside of an apartment where on the ground was this circle of lit candles. And the trio, without saying anything, just marched into the circle of candles and took seats cross-legged on the ground, all looking inward toward each other. Then,
oh, what's up, Sarah? Yeah, he's really good.
It was like suddenly the air in the room seemed to change, and when that happened, the woman began to speak.
See, we're gonna hang out, listen to some spooky stories.
Guttural voice that almost sounded like a man speaking, but it was clearly coming out of her mouth. But the 2 men who were sitting in the circle watching this woman, they were expecting this.
Hurry, my
so they
friend,
sat there
move with
listening
haste,
intently
in order for our
their
rich lager to taste more
and then
like
after
beer
they got
and
their
less like
instructions,
stew,
the 2
hops
men
are
waited
needed to
for the
make the
woman to
brew.
stop talking. When she did, she handed them a special tool for the ritual, and then the 2 men stood up. They said their goodbyes, they turned around, marched outside.
Hey, Mr. Ball, he's a really good storyteller, Josh. If you've never watched some of his stuff, he does some creepy stories, some real life stories, some other stuff too. He's really good.
Because that's all we do, and we upload once a week. So, if that's of interest to you, when the like button has just finished raking up all of their fallen leaves in their yard, break out your leaf blower and obliterate all of their piles. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Okay, let's get into today's story. Just before midnight on August 22nd, 2005, 38-year-old Rick Eck knocked on the front door of an apartment in the tiny Midwestern farm town of Claremont, Illinois. As Rick waited for the door to open,
nothing ever good happens in Illinois,
because he was so excited about what he was going to be doing that night. Finally, the door swung open, and Rick saw right in front of him this very skinny and gaunt-looking woman with dark hair and dark eyes staring back at him. Her name was Irenia Kotner, and she was 34 years old, and by day, she worked at Walmart, but at night, she became the real version of herself. She was a witch who actually led a group of witches known as the Coven that Rick was a part of. Without saying anything, Irenia motioned for Rick to follow her into her apartment, and then Irenia turned and began walking
He knows what he's doing with the algorithm for sure.
Rick, before stepping over the threshold, he paused for a moment and just turned to the guy he had brought with him, a tall, muscular man named David Lindner. And Rick, he just kind of nodded at David, and David nodded back, and then the 2 of them walked inside. As Rick and David followed Irenia into her apartment, Rick still could barely contain his excitement. He had only joined this coven recently, about a year and a half ago.
How do people get into, like,
which is something they were going to be doing that night,
witchcraft, I was gonna say,
was kind of
why
new
do people
to him.
get into
It was very exciting. Rick had been inspired to become a witch and join this coven after watching the Harry Potter movies, and so he was hopeful that tonight would go something like Harry Potter. And Rick knew David, the guy he brought along, was this very powerful warlock, which is a male witch, and so he figured, you know, if David's here, this is bound to go to plan. Rick just hoped he'd be able to keep up with David, or at least play some sort of meaningful support role. Irenia eventually led Rick and David down this dark hallway to this small living room where
I
in
don't
the
know.
middle of the floor was a ring of
A little
lit
crazy
candles.
to do all this kind of
And as
stuff.
soon as Rick and David stepped into the room with Irenia, they were hit with this powerful smell of incense that had been burning in the room, and also there was all this smoke hovering in the air from the various things that Irenia had been burning in preparation for tonight's event. Rick, David, and Irenia walked quietly into the middle of this circle of candles, and they sat down cross-legged in a circle facing each other, and then they got ready to begin. Life in the town of Claremont was normally very quiet and peaceful. I mean, this is a town that literally has more cornfields than people, and Claremont was over 100 miles away from the nearest city. But beneath the calm exterior, Claremont had a dark side. Amongst the 200 or so residents of Claremont were several very dark witches. Not this coven, not Irenia, Rick, and David. They were the good guys. The dark witches, they were kind of
Man,
out
people
and
that
about
get
in
into
the town
Scientology,
and
they
doing
must be
bad things,
insane.
like practicing evil magic and evil
Like
witchcraft.
that,
And
if you listen to
this
some
coven,
stories that comes
led
out of
by
Scientology,
Irenia,
it's
was actually in
insane.
place to try to combat these evil witches in their midst. And tonight,
Like, I
Rick,
grew up in,
David,
like, the
and
church and
Irenia
stuff,
were going
and
to
went to
attempt
church all the
to
time, but
perform
I
their
just-
most ambitious
I couldn't get
and
with
potent
other people
magic
telling
yet.
me like how
The
to live my
coven
life
was going to
and how to
attempt
think about the
to
world.
break
So
a powerful hex.
I couldn't imagine
which is
joining
kind of
something
like
like
a
the
curse. And this
Scientology
hex
and actually,
was
you know,
cast
taking it
by a
seriously.
person who might very well be
don't-
the worst
I don't
of
really
all
judge
the
anyone else
dark
that
witches.
does,
of
but I
Claremont.
just can't see
A
myself doing that.
16-year-old girl named Lindsay Cassinger. As Rick sat cross-legged in the middle of the circle, he found himself staring at the two slightly
for
bigger
sure.
candles that sat in the dead center of the circle, that were basically right between Rick, David, and Irenia. And David, as he stared at these two candles, he saw etched in each of the candles' bodies were words. On one candle it said Lindsay, and on the other candle it was etched baby.
No, I
Because it
can't
would turn
judge that.
out
I
this
just don't
very
like that.
evil dark witch, Lindsay,
I don't like
was
people
pregnant.
talk about
And
how
so
I live
instead
my
of
life,
having
so
to
I don't
combat
talk about
one
others and
dark
how they live
soul,
their life,
the
you know?
coven would have to combat two, because Lindsay and the baby were kind of intertwined.
Do whatever
Now,
you want
before
to do,
this
man.
night, the coven
long as it
had
doesn't affect
attempted
my life, I
several
don't care what
times
it is.
to try to
Or
break
hurt
this
people,
hex
you know?
that Lindsay had cast. And the coven believed initially this hex was actually cast directly at Irenia, because Irenia was suffering from things like depression and anxiety and not finding love. And so, of course, that had to be a product of this curse. And as the coven had continued
Not
to
finding
try
love,
and
maybe,
fail
you know,
at
it
breaking
was
this
your
hex,
crazy
the hex had
rituals
only
that
become
pushed
more
people
powerful
away
and begun
from
to spread
proper
Irenia
relationships, you
to
know?
other witches in this coven who actually were not present this particular night, including a 20-year-old woman who began complaining of depression and ever-worsening headaches, which of course had to be because of this hex. And so that
See,
was
Michaela,
why on this night,
now
the coven
I
had
can get
decided
behind
to
that.
really beef up their attack on this hex. And so that was why Rick had gone out and brought in David, the experienced warlock from St. Louis, Missouri, who claimed he had broken a hex before and he could do it again for them. As Rick, Irenia, and Dave all sat in the circle, they looked at each other, and then they began chanting in unison to bring out the dead, to join them in the living room right now. And as they began this chant, Rick found himself intensely staring at those two candles with Lindsay and
actually
Baby
watched
on
a video
them.
the other day
And
of,
as he stared at the flames dancing across the top of
tier
them, Rick
list of
started
all
to
like the
feel like
fast
he was
food
kind of
chicken
drifting
sandwiches,
off
and
into a
Jollibee actually
trance-like
came in number
state.
one.
And he knew that based on his prior teachings
I don't have a
from
Jollibee around me, so I
Irenia, the leader
can't
of
really
this
say
coven,
what it
that
is.
this must be what it feels like when the
might be
spirit
one
world
actually in the
opens
city,
up,
I just
which
haven't
means the
seen
dead
one
really
yet,
were
so.
coming into the room. And then, as Rick is kind of dealing with this trance-like state, he heard Irenia begin to talk, but it wasn't her normal voice.
She's talking in
it was
tongues.
This slow and deep-sounding voice, almost like something had inhabited her body and taken it
Demons.
over and was now speaking through her mouth. And Irenia, in this kind of slow and strange voice, she would tell Rick and David that the curse is still growing. And then she would say something that totally caught Rick by surprise. She said, again in that slow, strange voice, that the hex now was also on Rick and his entire family, and if they didn't break this hex immediately, Rick and his family would all perish. Rick heard this, he's still in this trance-like state, but his heart began racing because he didn't know this hex could potentially affect his loved ones.
Actually,
And so
also
this was
almost
a
had to
really
move to
big deal.
Missouri.
They needed to end this hex.
I was really not
tonight.
happy about that
Rick
one,
listened
but luckily I
intently
didn't have
as
to, so.
Irenia began to say in
Nothing
this
against
strange
it, there
voice
just wasn't much
what their plan was
much
for that
around there,
night to
so.
break this hex. Basically, Rick and David were going to perform a sacred ritual, and Irenia, she began to say
I
to
don't
the
like,
spirits in the room that Rick and David,
I don't
they were ready,
flat,
but
just
they needed help. And so after she said this,
Flat
she went
farmland
quiet, and so too
areas, they
did Rick
just-
and David.
there's a lot to
They're all
do,
just sitting there
but-
kind of waiting for something to happen. And then after about a minute of
Not
just
as much
total
when I'm
silence,
surrounded by mountains and
Irenia began to speak again,
wilderness and stuff
still
around me,
in
you
a
know?
strange, slow, bizarre voice. But Rick and David knew now it was a different voice coming out of her. Now Irenia was speaking on behalf of the spirit world that was in the room with them.
Spirit world.
Irenia, she would say in this voice, I grant you 5 demons to help you on your quest to break this hex. And then after saying this,
Jesus.
Irenia, she opened her eyes and she looked
people
kind
are
of confused
insane.
for a moment, and then she kind of got her bearings and she looked at David and Rick and she told them now in her normal voice that they had to perform this sacred ritual before the 2 candles in the middle with Lindsay and Baby etched on them burned out. And so basically, Rick and David, they needed to get this done tonight. Then Irenia handed David a sacred tool that would be used that night in this sacred ritual that David and Rick.
Well, see, I
were
would
going
never go to
complete.
Missouri and
then
call it
Rick
flat
and David, they would
because
stand up to leave, and
I
before
will
they
get
left,
shot there. That's why I would
Irenia
never go
would
there.
give them the typical witch send-off, which was "Blessed be." And then Rick and David.
Oh,
they
yeah,
nodded
the
their
mountains that are
heads,
like a
they
couple
turned
hundred
and walked
foot,
out of the apartment.
couple hundred
And
foot
as soon as they
hills,
were
yeah.
out into
We call
the
those
night,
mountains where I'm from
Rick
too,
could have
but
sworn he
now
saw
I live in a
dark
place that
shadows
actually has
moving
mountains.
around all over the place. And he knew right then and there that he and David would be safe that night, because clearly the shadows moving around had to be those 5 demons that Irenia had called forth from the spirit world to protect them this night. And so, feeling very safe and empowered, Rick and David went straight to his car. Rick turned it on, pulled away from the curb, and began heading towards their destination. The other day, old Seagull Lung was looking pretty down, and so naturally, I offered him some of my iced wildebeest retinas to suck on, but he just shook his head and said, Dad, thank you, but what I really need right now is, a bloodthirsty horde of zombies to descend on this town so I
the
can
fuck are we
savagely
talking
destroy them with various DIY weaponry. But alas,
I think it's one of his ad
zombies aren't
reads.
real, and so my dream will never come true. And at this point, I just slapped Lung right across the face, and I said, Lung, are you kidding me? You ever heard of a little thing called DLS? Doomsday Last Survivor? You
Yep,
kidding me?
ad
They
read.
literally have trillions of zombies you can slaughter right now. You kidding me? Come here. Let me explain to you what this is. In Doomsday, you enter a dark, post-apocalyptic world filled with your beloved bloodthirsty zombies, and it's up to
No,
you to
they've never seen one in real life,
strategize
for
and
sure.
survive their wrath. You can customize shelters, and you can even recruit heroes with their own special abilities that will help you slaughter all these zombies. And right now, you have a chance at some of the $5,000 cash that's up for grabs for playing this game. You can be a lone survivor, or you can join forces with other players and alliances to try to withstand the zombie.
Alright, there we go.
A few miles away, at the house where the 16-year-old evil witch, Lindsay Cassinger, lived, a 20-year-old Army private named Joshua Bennett was sitting at the kitchen table in Lindsay's house, eating chicken wings and just kind of enjoying his
Mount
night.
Shasta.
Josh didn't know Lindsay very well,
I've
but
heard
he
of
wasn't
that.
at her house to see Lindsay. He was at her house to see his own mother. And Josh and his mother had a lot of catching up to do. She had abandoned him and his father when
Is that
he was
in
young, and so
Missouri?
Josh's dad had raised him, and then when Josh was old enough, he had joined the military, and now he was about to deploy to the Middle East to go to
What am I
war.
thinking? That
But unexpectedly,
sounds very
Josh's
familiar.
father had died, and so Josh had come back to Illinois for the funeral, and it was at the funeral where he saw his mother.
Oh,
She
Northern
was in
California.
attendance as
Okay.
well. And even though he was upset with his mother for abandoning him,
Don't
he
worry,
felt like,
I
you know
live in
what, I wanna
Washington
reconnect
State,
with
so
her.
yeah, I
And so he'd
understand the
gone
mean
over
country
and he'd
part.
given her a hug, and his mother had been so touched that she had asked.
Yeah, I have a lot
Josh
of mountains
to
around
come
here
by
that are
her
really
house in
prevalent.
Claremont,
Like
Illinois,
from where I
where
live
she
from,
lived
I
with
can
her
see like a
boyfriend,
couple.
because she
Well, I
really
can see a
wanted some
lot of
alone time
mountains,
to
but there's a couple
actually hear
prevalent
about
mountains.
Josh's life and kinda, get back
Like the
together
Northern
again.
Cascades,
so,
and
of
I've
course,
been down
Josh
to
had said yes.
Seattle,
So
and
here
I've
he
gone to like
was
Mount
at
Rainier
this
and
house
stuff.
in
I've actually
Claremont.
climbed. I
Now,
haven't
Josh
climbed
had
up Mount
arrived
Rainier
at this
itself,
house
but
a
I've
little
been
bit
up the side
earlier,
face
and
of
he was
it, the
surprised to
southern
discover
facing
that it was
side.
not just his mother
Some
and
hikes
her
up there. It
boyfriend
was
living there,
gorgeous.
but also his mother's boyfriend's son, whose name was Jackie, was also living there, along with his
Absolutely
pregnant girlfriend,
gorgeous.
the evil witch, Lindsay Cassinger. But Josh didn't really mind that there was extra people. It was just maybe a little bit confusing that this was kind of a big roommate situation. But it seemed like Jackie and his girlfriend Lindsay were very nice people, and they quickly went downstairs to the apartment in the basement and kind of just stayed out of the way so Josh and his mother could catch up. And so after Josh finished eating his wings, his mother came into the kitchen, and the two of them chatted for hours, and then finally at about
Is it actually
midnight
called
that
Weed,
night,
California?
Josh decided to go to bed.
Makes sense.
So he said goodnight to his mom, he retreated to the bedroom, and he laid in bed. But he couldn't really sleep right away because he had a lot going on in his life. I mean, he had just lost his dad a couple of weeks ago, and then at the same time, he had reconnected with his estranged mother, and he's about to deploy to Iraq, to a war zone, and, you know, he felt ready for that, but at the same time, he was kind of apprehensive. You know, it's about to happen. You know, I hope I'll be able to do my job. And so with all these kind of intense thoughts swirling around his head, he just kind of laid there and didn't really expect to sleep anytime soon. But eventually, Josh did fall asleep. However, it felt like he had only been asleep for a couple of minutes when he was abruptly woken up by the sound of barking coming out from the kitchen. Jackie's dog was going crazy. And so Josh grabbed his phone and he checked the time and he saw it was 3 in the morning. And so instead of going out there and dealing with this dog, he just thought, you know what, it's gonna stop eventually. And so Josh grabbed his pillow and he put it over his head and tried to muffle the sounds so he could fall back asleep. But it didn't work. The dog just kept on barking. And then when Josh took the pillow off his head and kind of sat up wondering what he should do about this dog situation, he heard the sound of a man's voice, a stranger's voice, saying, "I bring you forth from the dark." And then after Josh heard this, he heard the sound of a woman screaming, and it sounded like his mom. And so acting on instinct, Josh leapt from his bed, he ran out of the room, and he goes into the kitchen, and he sees the dog is jumping and barking and going mad, and his mom is screaming, and there's this guy grabbing her, kind of grappling with her, who's wearing black gloves and a ski mask, and there's another guy next to him with the same getup. It's absolute chaos. But before Josh could run over and save his mother, suddenly his chest felt like it was on fire, and then he went blind, and his eyes had this burning pain in them, and then he couldn't breathe, and he was stumbling backwards, barely able to stand. Minutes later, Rick, who was one of the witches from the coven, bolted out of the front door of Lindsay's house where all this chaos was happening, and he just took off running across the street directly into a cornfield. And as he ran, he felt this throbbing pain in his leg, and he could feel blood pooling in his shoe. Rick ran until he couldn't run any farther, and then he collapsed onto the ground, and then he began thinking about what an absolute disaster it had been inside of the evil witch's house. Not only had they failed to break the hex cast by Lindsay, but also Rick was concerned that David, his partner, who was still at the house, was dead. And Rick, he began looking around wildly, hoping all those demons that were sent to help them from the spirit world, he was hoping they'd be nearby and they'd know what to do.
Might actually be on Grabulous, I can't remember.
And there was no one. And so Rick thought for a second, oh my gosh,
let me check.
Lindsay's hex must be stronger than any of us realize. You know, we have to do something now. We have to end this before me and my family get killed too. And so Rick pulled out his phone and he called Irenia, the leader of the coven, to get her advice about what they should do next. But Irenia didn't respond to what Rick was saying the way he expected.
Yeah, I'm on Grabulous as well.
Instead, she seemed very cold and almost enraged at what he was saying. And then, before Rick could kind of figure out what was going on with Irenia, he heard off in the distance the sound of sirens making their way to the evil witch's house. Over the next few days,
I thought those sirens
police
were actually
detectives would speak
outside
to
my house.
everyone inside of Irenia's coven, as well as everyone who knew both Irenia and Lindsay. And slowly but surely, the police would put together what actually happened inside of Lindsay, the evil witch's house, in the early morning hours of August 23rd, 2005. At about 3 a.m. on August 23rd, 2005, Rick and David pulled up onto Lindsay's street, and they parked their car a little ways away from Lindsay's house. And after parking, Rick and David donned their ski masks and their gloves, and after looking at each other and nodding, they hopped out and began walking towards Lindsay's house. Their plan was to sneak in through one of Lindsay's windows and confront Lindsay the evil witch directly and break the hex by performing a sacred ritual, and then after this ritual was over, they had a second ritual they would need to perform that would send Lindsay's evil soul through the gates of hell. And to do that, they needed the help of the 5 demons that had been sent along by Irenia from the spirit world. Now, Rick and David felt like this was a great plan. However, as soon as they got to Lindsay's house and David actually began trying to climb into one of the windows, everything fell apart. First, the dog began to bark inside of Lindsay's house, and that alerted Josh's mother,
We know you
who
love
came
the
into the
robo
kitchen and
voice.
sees the
Like,
dog and sees David
it's your favorite
falling
part.
through the window, and Rick, who didn't really know what was happening inside the house, he just climbed through the window after David, and when he stood up in the kitchen, he realized it was too late. They were totally caught. And so Rick, not really knowing what to do, he's seeing all this yelling and chaos happening. He looks over at David, and he sees David grab something from his belt, and he pulls it out. And it was the tool that Irenia had given them when they left her apartment to go carry out this sacred ritual. This tool was part of that sacred ritual, and it was a long, sharp knife. And what they were going to do is stab the evil witch, Lindsay Cassinger, to death with it. That was how they were going to break the hex. And then after they killed Lindsay, they were going to perform this weird ritual with her clothing that would send her soul through the gates of hell. Now, Rick did understand
On the surface,
that
there's a
this
lot to
was
WoW,
the
but
plan. They were
realistically,
going to
it's actually
murder
very
Lindsay,
simple.
but perhaps he didn't
It's just
really
if you
know
want
how
to get into the
serious David
intricacies
was
of it,
about
it can get
carrying
pretty
it out,
complicated.
or the fact that David was not really a warlock as much as he was a violent criminal who had bragged to Irenia about previously murdering someone who had cast a separate hex, and so by killing this person, that was how David had broken the hex previously. Also, Rick may not have known that David had been instructed by Irenia to not let anything stand in their way to break this hex, to carry out this sacred ritual on Lindsay. And so Rick just watched as David raised the knife and began stabbing Josh's mother over and over again in the chest
off and
while
on since I was a
screaming,
kid.
"I bring you forth from the dark!" And it was at this point that Josh, the
Turn
army
this down just a
private who
bit, 'cause
heard
I
all
can't
this
even hear myself
happening,
think when
came
he's
charging
yelling.
out in his underwear into the kitchen, and Rick watched as David went from stabbing Josh's mother to turning
Jesus
and
Christ, this dude
immediately
just
stabbing Josh
fucking
directly
stabbed
in
the
the chest.
shit out of people.
And Rick, at this point, he just jumped right in on it and pulled out his pepper spray and sprayed Josh in the eyes. And so that was why Josh felt the burning sensation and then went
I've been
blind
pepper sprayed
and
before.
couldn't breathe
It's not
and
fun.
fell to the ground. And
I've been
now
playing on
it
and
is
off since I was a kid.
absolutely chaos inside
Not
of
like a
his
ton.
kitchen,
Like, I leveled
and
a
the
couple
actual
characters, probably
target
between
of
level
David
20 and
Rick's,
30, I'd
Lindsay,
say.
the evil witch, she managed to run out of the house and run
So
to a
I-
nearby neighbor's house to get help.
I've
Meanwhile,
never really
the evil
reached
witch's
endgame,
boyfriend,
never really raided or
Jackie,
nothing.
He comes upstairs carrying
So I'm
a
trying
shotgun.
to get,
And at this
tuned at
point,
least
Josh
pretty
is on the
far to
ground,
understand the game
clearly
better,
dying
especially
from the
before
stab wound to
Season
his
Discovery
chest.
comes out
His
later this
mother
month.
as well
So
is struggling on the ground.
I want to play
and David is going
SOD
totally nuts,
later
saying all
and
these strange
try
things
that
and
out.
whipping his
And
knife
I've
around.
been playing a little
and
bit of
Rick is
retail on the
just
side too.
totally panicking and doesn't know what to do. And so when
couple of my
Jackie
friends
ran
played
at
retail a
Rick
little
with
bit,
this
so
shotgun, Rick pulled out
kinda
his own
playing
knife
off and
and
on.
attempted to stab Jackie,
playing a lot
but
this
somehow
week,
missed
and
Jackie
I-
and stabbed himself in the leg.
I probably have only like
So that was why
100
his leg
hours
was throbbing
total
and bleeding
of playtime
because he had
ever,
stabbed himself.
but I haven't
And then
played
after Rick had stabbed himself,
as of recently. I haven't
Jackie
played in
just
probably
walked
the
over
last
and
4 years
Spartan
or so.
kicked Rick down the stairs into the basement. And then Jackie turned his attention from
Oh no,
Rick
I'm almost
to
30 years
David,
old, bro.
who was still just going nuts
When I was
with
a kid
this
was a
knife and being
long time
total
ago.
maniac. And Jackie just walked over to David, and David, he sees the shotgun coming over to him, and he tries to move the barrel out of the way.
Yes, there is an
but then
endgame.
somehow only manages to point the gun directly at his own stomach.
Is there
at
an
which
end game
point
as far
Jackie
as
just
like
fired
I've
a
beat
slug
the game?
directly into David's
Not
gut.
really.
And it was at this moment,
But there is
as
end game
David is
content that
crumbling
you
to
can
the
play like
ground from his
raids and
horrible
dungeons
stomach
and stuff
wound,
with your
that
friends
the
that are
neighbor
super
that
challenging.
Lindsay, the evil witch, had gone to go get, had come to the house. They went inside, and they found a scene of absolute carnage. And before the neighbor could even do anything, Rick, who had stabbed himself in the leg and been kicked down into the basement,
Hey now.
scrambled up the
I'm not
steps
that
and
old.
just run right past all the bodies on the ground, past the neighbor who didn't even do anything.
My body feels
outside,
like I'm
and
old,
Rick
though,
just
especially when I
kept
wake up
on
in the
running
morning.
out
It's
into
rough.
that cornfield. And so at this
When
point,
I'm
the
sitting
neighbor
down
didn't even
editing a
try
video
to
for, like,
figure out what happened. He just called
4 or 5, 6 hours.
But it was
Oh my
already
God, my
too
back
late
fucking
for
hurts.
Josh, the army private, who was only at this
I'm
house
fucking
to reconnect with his
groaning and
estranged
grumbling
mother
when I get up.
before he deployed to Iraq. And here he was, dead on the ground from this totally bizarre attack. It would turn out Rick, David, and really the entire coven of witches that fell under Irenia had been totally duped.
So yeah, I mean,
They
I
all
play WoW and I
fully
understand the
believed
mechanics
that
of it,
Lindsay
and
was
how
in fact
to,
an
you
evil
know,
witch who had cast
beat
this
mobs,
hex
not a
on
heal, and
Irenia,
all do all that
which
stuff,
was
but
spreading to all
a
the
lot
other
of, like,
members of the
the
coven. But in
the end game
reality,
stuff and
Irenia,
the
the
mechanics
leader
and
of
stuff,
this
I
coven,
have no
she
idea what I'm
didn't believe
talking
there was
about.
a hex that had nothing to do with any of this. The whole coven thing was totally made up. She was
Yeah, I've
just
always
jealous
loved
that Lindsay was dating Jackie. Irenia had
MMOs,
previously
and I've
dated
loved like the
Jackie,
high
and they
fantasy
had
stuff
broken
like
up,
WoW.
and Irenia still wanted to
But
get
like when I
together,
was
but
growing
Jackie
up, I didn't really have
So
like
now that Jackie was with Lindsay,
a ton of money
Irenia
to
just
actually
couldn't handle it. And
like
so,
pay for a sub or nothing. But
Irenia
obviously,
had
as I've gotten older, I got
constructed
more
this
time
whole
to
thing
myself. I can
about
just
Lindsay being one of
pay
the
for it and
dark
play it,
witches
so.
in Claremont, Illinois, and
Been
she's
grinding a
cast
lot
this
lately.
hex, and now you, my witches in this coven, you need to go and kill her. But of course, Lindsay did not end up getting killed, and instead, it was the totally innocent person, Josh, the army private, who had nothing to do with any of this, who got killed. In addition to Josh dying, David, the warlock from St. Louis,
Really want to
he
get
died
far
from a
enough and
shotgun blast to his stomach.
play some of the
And then Josh's
expansion
mother, who had
content
been
for
stabbed
Wrath. I've heard it's one of the better
repeatedly by
ones. So
David, she would actually survive her attack. Irenia would ultimately be found guilty of first-degree murder, and she would be sentenced to 57 years in prison. Rick
57
pleaded
years,
guilty to murder as
goddamn.
well, and he was sentenced to 20 years. And a third member of the coven, who was not present for the attack, but who after the fact helped cover it up, they were sentenced to 32 years in prison.
yeah, these people look fucking insane.
One of the most haunted places in the entire United Kingdom is this little nondescript farmhouse in rural Wales. In 1989, Bill and Liz Rich, who were newlyweds, moved into their dream home, this little farmhouse in Wales. And pretty much right away, terrifying things began happening to them. They began hearing these loud footsteps marching around their second floor, but as soon as they went up there, there'd be nothing. And then Bill and Liz began randomly waking up in the middle of the night, and at the foot of their bed would be this dark figure just staring at them. Bill and Liz were terrified, but their fear was ratcheted up tenfold when their neighbors began telling them about their home's
Their
very
cloak.
dark and insidious history. And not long after that, Bill began to change. To hear the full terrifying story, listen to the special 2-part bonus Halloween episode on the Bedtime Stories podcast. This episode is called The Curse of Yall. And be sure to follow and listen to the Bedtime Stories podcast wherever you get your podcasts to hear more bone-chilling stories. So that's going to do it. If you enjoyed today's story, be sure to check out our podcast called the Mr. Ballin Podcast that has literally hundreds of stories just like this one, but many of them are only available on the podcast. Again, it's called the Mr. Ballin Podcast, and it's available on Amazon Music.
The B movie. Yeah, hold on. Give me a second.
Say something.
You like jazz? You like jazz? You like jazz? You like jazz?
This is what you wanted, Michaela?
You like jazz? You like jazz? You like jazz?
The best part of the B movie right here.
You like jazz? 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 You like jazz?
I didn't think it would just be repeated over and over again.
You like jazz? You like jazz? You like jazz? You like jazz?
Oh my god.
You like jazz? You like jazz? You like jazz? You like jazz?
Hold on, once I get out of this area with all these people.
You like jazz? You like
Alright, that's getting paused. Oh god. You like jazz? You like jazz?
jazz? You like 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 jazz?
It's so dumb. Must have. What else do we got here? I've been watching a lot of fucking WoW content lately and some other dumb shit. Let's see. You can sleep peacefully just with them screaming fucking you like jazz the entire time. I love this guy.
Have you ever
makes
asked yourself what would happen if I left 8 pounds of fish and 1 pound of salt to
he
sit
makes
in a jar in the sun for 2
food
months?
from like
Of course you
history.
have. Well, the answer is you'd make garum, the fermented fish sauce of ancient Rome. So thank you to Factor for sponsoring this video as I make true fermented garum. This time on Tasting
I love
Whiskey.
learning about history, and this guy, I love food and cooking too, so this guy just envelops them all into one, which is
So what
great.
exactly is garum? Well, one 7th century author, Isidore of Seville, said garum is a salted liquid of fish, which formerly
Alright, night,
was
Josh.
made from
Appreciate
the
you
fish
stopping
that
by,
the
buddy.
Greeks called gyros.
Have a good night.
And although it is now made from an infinite variety of fish, it retains the original
Go check out my other
name that it
content
had
too.
at its
Trust me,
beginning.
it's
But I feel
a
Isidore
good
had
time.
never actually seen the product being made, because yes, it is a salted liquid of fish, but it's how you get to that product that is so interesting. Now, the Roman poet Marcus Manilius, he did write about the process of taking fish and salt and putting them in a terracotta vat and letting them ferment. And then, being a poet, he describes the end result in some flourishing language. Their inward parts melt and issue forth as a stream of decomposition. Here a precious exudate flows out, which vomits up the flour of the gore, and mixed with salt, balances taste in the mouth. Yeah, that's what I'm about to make. It's actually that stream of decomposition
So apparently,
that I'm going.
you know, we think
And
about
to make
olive
that,
oil,
we
right?
need to
And we
find
think about like the
proper
ancient Greeks
ancient
and the ancient
About
Romans and
3.5
stuff
years
that
ago,
they
shortly
like, you know,
after I started
created
this channel,
olive
I
oil.
did a
A
video
lot of
on garum.
apparently
In fact, it's how
they
most
ate this
people
garum
found
stuff, which
this
is more like a
channel. It's
fish
why I
sauce,
made
as a
t-shirts
fermented
that says
fish
you
sauce.
have
They
me
didn't
at
actually
garum.
use olive
But it was
oil a
the beginning of
ton,
the
like
pandemic,
as far
and I was
as
living in a tiny little condo, so I
we
was
might
about to
conceive it.
ferment a bunch of fish in my condo
Yeah,
because
it's
it
a
was
fermented
crazy.
fish
So
sauce
instead,
basically.
I followed a recipe for quick garum, which did come from an ancient document called Geoponica, which is a treatise on farming. And the Geoponica also has some more traditional ways of making garum. The Bithynians make it thus. Take preferably small or large mendole, or if none, anchovy or scad or mackerel, and put them into a baker's bowl of the kind in which dough is needed. To 1 modius of fish, knead in 6 Italian pints of salt so that it is well mixed with the fish. Put it in an earthenware vessel and leave it uncovered in the sun for 2 or 3 months, occasionally stirring with a stick. Then take the fluid, cover, and store. And that is what I am doing. Also, I really have to thank culinary historian Sally Granger for helping me through the process and ensuring that I don't poison myself at the end of this episode. So for this recipe, all you need is fish and salt, but it's the ratio that is so important. 1 modius of fish to 6 Italian pints of salt. Unfortunately, it's hard to buy fish by the modius these days, but it comes out to be an 8-to-1 ratio, or 12.5%.
I do like
salinity at the end of the
like a
process.
Japanese or
And
Chinese
it's
fish sauce
important
though.
to hit that because that's going to kill pretty much all of
But
the
I
bad
like basically
bacteria
all seafood,
that,
so
that you don't want in this condiment. Now, most modern fish sauces
can't
have
take
even
my
higher
word for it.
salinity, 25 to 35% in some cases. But I am going to go with the ancient Roman percentages. Do not make this. Leave this to me. Watch and be satisfied with this. Do not make it. But if you do want to try,
I've heard this
garum,
stuff is
I
pretty
will put
bad, though.
links to where you can get certain modern versions of garum that are made. Definitely not poisonous. It's what I use here on the channel very often. So I'll put links to that down there. But this version, leave it to me. So first, I went to my local fish market to buy the freshest fish that I could find. They didn't have the suggested mendole or scad or anchovy, but they did have mackerel, so that's what I ended up getting, 8 pounds of it, and then 1 pound of the finest Italian sea salt that I could find. Then I chopped up the fish into large pieces. What I did not do is clean the fish, gut the fish, because you want the enzymes that are in the digestive tract of the fish to be in the jar, because that's actually what's going to do a lot of the breaking down.
Now
for you.
them
So I chopped up
fermenting
the
just the
fish and
entire
started to
whole
add them
fish,
to
all
the
the
jar
guts and
along with the
everything,
salt. And I wanted to make sure that the salt was
nah,
rubbed into
doesn't
each
sound
piece
very
of
fun.
fish before dropping it in. Now, I'm
Seafoods
using a
can
glass
stink.
jar because
I know a
I
lot
want
of people
to
don't
see
like
the
it, but
process as it
there's a
goes,
lot of ways
but
you
more
can make
historical
it
would be
so
a
good.
terracotta jar of some sort.
Also, I
Once the fish and
love
salt were added,
sushi.
gave it a
Like, I
good
love all
plunging
that
or two
stuff.
to make sure that everything was mixed together. What I did not add was any kind of liquid, so it's actually kind of hard to
I love
get
sushi.
it
I love
mixed together without liquid.
fish.
Then I set it out in the sun, and I did cover
Love raw
mine.
fish. I love
am
cooked
crazy
fish.
getting into it. We got raccoons.
Fried
But
fish, baked
I was
fish,
opening the jar several times a day
octopus,
to make sure that
clams,
enough
oysters,
oxygen was getting in,
scallops. I
which
love
will
all
help
of
to
it.
Stop botulism. Now, before I said all that you needed was fish and salt, but really you also need a third ingredient, and that is time. Specifically time out in the sun. At least 2 months out in the sun. So if you're looking for something that's not going to take 2 months, might I suggest a meal from today's sponsor, Factor. Factor delivers fresh, never frozen meals right to your door, and they are fully prepared. Now, I love to cook, obviously, and I've used HelloFresh for a long time, but HelloFresh, which now owns Factor, knows that sometimes you don't have time to cook at all. So they have Factor to deliver fully prepared meals to your door, and I've actually been using them for years, long before I started tasting history. When I was working a job where I actually had to leave the house, I would bring Factor meals to lunch every single day pretty much. Because they're never frozen, they just take a couple minutes to heat up either in the microwave or just a few minutes in the oven. And they have loads of options, over 35 different selections every single week. And they have options that are meat and pescatarian, keto, vegetarian, they got it all. So to give Factor a try, go to factor75.com or click the link in the description and use my code TASTINGHISTORY50 to get 50% off of your first Factor box. That's 50% using TASTINGHISTORY50 at factor75.com. Now, while Factor may offer you a meal in an instant, the same cannot be said for garum, because, like I said, it takes 2 months, but it is an active
2 months of
The
fermenting.
day after I
Jeez.
set the jar out, I got to mixing. And the first thing that I noticed was there was a lot more liquid. It turns out that the salt that is added by osmosis draws the liquid out of the fish's flesh, and so it became a lot easier to stir even by
Oh, that
day.
looks tasty.
And every day I would go out at
Super
least once,
tasty.
preferably twice a day, and mix the garum. And within just 4 or 5 days, I noticed that the fish really started to break down. Fins were falling off, bones were sticking out. It was something out of a horror film. But it wasn't until a little bit later, about at the 2.5-week mark, that the fish were no longer recognizable as fish. There were still some bones, yes, but overall it was a thick, brownish gray liquid that had a golden sheen of fat floating on top. Something reminiscent of a liquid that you'd see flowing out of a sewer. Now, does that look nasty? Yes, it does. But what was shocking was the odor, or rather lack thereof. It did smell. It had a very strong smell, but it smelled like a fish market. If you go to a fish market and just kind of get that fish smell, that's what it smelled like pretty much all the way through the process. I expected it to be putrid and kind of rotten smelling, but it wasn't. One of my favorite things to do all summer was to invite friends over to look at the garum and to smell it. And, you know, it was always kind of shocking that it didn't smell nearly as bad as all the others. So there were actually laws in ancient Rome that dictated that these garum factories had to be a certain distance
if you had
from
enough
population
salt,
centers
yeah.
because the smell was so bad. So
I think so,
was
at
a little
least.
worried that
You
I
could
was
ferment a
missing
body,
something,
but it would not.
but we'll come back to that.
It would
So
not
my
smell
summer was
good.
spent mixing garum every morning and every afternoon.
You need a
Felt like
lot
it
of
was
salt.
Time to mix the garum, and every day it got a little
Like a
more
lot.
liquidy and a little less fish sludgy. And every day I expected the stench to hit.
I don't think you should try
but
to,
it
you
didn't.
know, melt
Until
somebody
it
in
came time
salt.
to stir it. After a little over 2 months,
should probably just use
I
the
dipped
standard,
ladle in to pull out the brown
sulfuric acid
sludge,
or something
and
like
the
that, you know?
moment
It's
it
a lot more
came
effective.
Above the jar, tears welled
A lot
up
less
in
smelly.
my eyes,
Not much cleanup afterward.
On the side of my face.
and I knew right away why there were laws about this being made away from towns, because it was potent. Now, it didn't smell like rotten fish. It was more like stinging, like that stinging burn in the nostrils when you smell something fermented. So I think that I knew that I had done something right. So I soldiered on. I had put in 2 months of work and I wasn't about to give up, so I kept going. What I didn't understand was how possibly that brown-gray sludge was going to turn into the beautiful, clear,
That's fair.
amber-colored
I'm pretty sure you
liquid
could buy
that Liquaman,
sulfuric
which is
acid
the
on
end
frickin'
product that we're
Amazon
making,
anyway.
is supposed to be. Now, for the straining, the Gaelponica says,
Hold on.
a deep,
Actually,
close
now I'm
woven
curious.
basket
You got
is
me
inserted
thinking.
into the center of the jar containing these fish, and the liquid
Go. I think it's sulfuric acid. 1 liter for $24. Let's see. 16 ounces, 25 bucks. See, this a gallon, 4 liters, 60. It ain't cheap, but you can buy it on Amazon.
Flows into the basket, and so liquamen
Not that you
is
should ever,
obtained,
you know,
filtered
do
through the
that,
basket. And I suppose if you
but
have a really close flowing basket,
you can.
could do it in one
I don't
step.
condone this
I'm not
behavior,
exactly sure how, with all
but
the
it's
sludge and
possible.
everything, but maybe. But I ended up having to do it a few times, and I tried a few different mediums. I started with just a regular mesh strainer and then graduated to several layers of cheesecloth, and it strained out most of the big pieces, and it became kind of this fish paste, which is known as alek, which they actually used culinarily as well. But the liquid that was left behind was still really cloudy, and it just didn't look like something I wanted to put in my body. So I graduated to a coffee filter, and then finally, and probably most useful, finely woven muslin. And I passed it through that a few times, and it came through painfully slow, just drops. But what came out was indeed the clear amber-colored liquid that I was hoping to get. And while I strain enough to actually get a taste, let me tell you a little bit more about the history of garum. So as I mentioned, I have already done a video talking about the history of garum way back when I started the channel before I had a beard. Truly, tasting history is the house that garum stood. But since then, I have found so much more new information. So while some of this may overlap with that original video, most everything is actually new information. So
Well, it's a lot of
why
Relax.
garum? Why were the ancient Romans and the ancient Greeks just obsessed with this fish sauce? The answer is salt was used very often as a preservative, but very rarely was it mentioned as an ingredient in food. But being human, they still loved that salty taste. As Pliny the Elder says, in innumerable seasonings, it is the taste of salt that predominates, and it is looked for when we eat garum. So it was just a different, more complex way of salting.
Oh my god, that dude scared the
Today,
piss
many
out of me.
Asian countries still produce fish sauce for just that reason. And not only fish, but also soy sauce. It's the same idea. A way to add a saltiness, umami-ish, is that a word? Umami-ish flavor to your
I do
food.
love
It's so much
umami
more
flavoring.
complex than just adding salt. In fact,
Umami
when
flavors
it
are the
comes to
best.
soy sauce, it's likely that it was used as a vegetarian alternative to a Japanese fish sauce called gyosho. It could be made with all sorts of fish, but the most prized versions were actually made from squid. And it turns out that garum, too, could be made with seafood other than fish. Garum could also be flavored with
wasn't
different
much,
herbs, like oregano. There's actually a recipe
I just died.
Vergilius Martialis,
Motherfucker.
which calls for layers of salt and fish
Press the
and
wrong button.
herbs, salt and fish and herbs, though he lived in the 3rd century, but it's likely that the recipe was altered much later because it mentions spices as well, like cinnamon and clove. And that recipe also says to let it rest for 7 days in the sun, then mix the sauce daily for 20 days. After that time, it becomes a liquid. And I gotta say, I don't really think that's long enough, but who knows? I haven't tried it. Now, what I am
Typical
trying today
bozo-like
is the
behavior.
homemade garum, which is good, but it's not the best. The ancients write about what is the best garum, and it was called garum sociorum, or garum of allies, garum of friends. And it was made from all
That was your first
mackerel
mistake.
that came from southern Spain and northern Africa. Nowadays, the most
Never should
prized
believe in me.
garum is made from mackerel in the fisheries of Carthage. It is called sociorum. 1,000 sesterces are paid for 2 congi of this
Sociorum.
exquisite liquor. Hardly any other liquid other than perfumes command such a price. Marcus Apicius thought it especially desirable for mullets to be drowned in a bath of garum sociorum. And it was this garum sociorum that the poet Martial suggested as a wonderful gift to be given during the mid-December festival of Saturnalia, which celebrated the agricultural god Saturn and included gift-giving. And he says that when you send this gift, you should include an epigram. Accept this exquisite garum made from the first blood spilt of mackerel still breathing its last. An expensive gift. Though I don't think it's very classy to tell people that it's an expensive gift when you give it. But it was an expensive gift because Pliny said that it was 1,000 sesterces for 2 congi. That's about 1 year's pay for the average Roman legionary
Wow.
at the time. That's a lot of money, and not everyone could afford that. Luckily, Martial has an epigram to be sent if you're sending less quality garum. Inferior garum. I am, I confess it, the offspring of the tunny fish of Antipolis. Had I been that of a mackerel, I should not have been sent to you. Though that makes it seem that you sent this inferior garum not because you couldn't afford the garum sociorum, but rather if you had got the good garum, you would have kept it for yourself. Yet even while garum was prized, some calling it the most noble of liquors, its pungency made it for an easy punching bag for the ancient Roman authors. Martial has an epigram about the eating habits of his friend Boeticus. Neither mullet, Boeticus, nor turtle dove delights you, nor is hare ever acceptable to you, or wild boar, nor do sweet meats please you, or slices of cake. Instead, you devour capers and onions swimming in disgusting garum, and the soft part of a gammon of bacon whose freshness is fresh. I suspect that there must be some other more secret vice in your stomach, for why, Boeticus, do you eat such disgusting things? Though my favorite of his garum-deriding epigrams is to his friend Flaccus. You are a man of iron, Flaccus, if you are able to make love to a woman after she has had 6 helpings of garum.
Oh my
Garum was
God.
so potent that sometimes even animals shied away. Columella in his case of
That's
agriculture wrote,
hilarious.
great care must be taken by the man in charge who feeds the bees when he must handle the hives, that the day before he has abstained from sexual relations and garum and all the liquids which accompany it. But while the ancient writers love to poke fun at garum, it's clear that they also love the stuff because they're always talking about where the best garum came from. Some said that it came from the Black Sea, others from what is now Spain. But one of the most famous garum-producing cities was actually Pompeii. And we even know the name of one of the top manufacturers who lived there.
Wait a second, I just want to check something. I'm gonna check my stat. Am I going to just 3 into heart? Okay.
Bottles with his mark on them are found all over the Mediterranean, and a full 1/3 of the garum bottles found in the sites of Pompeii and Herculaneum came from him. It's also from his workshop that there was found a famous mosaic that bears a label which translates to the flower of garum, made of the mackerel, a product of Scaurus, from the shop of Scaurus. Though he also offered a product called the flower of liquamen, which would infer that at that time, garum and liquamen were 2 different things. Now, throughout history, the terms sometimes have been used synonymously, but by the early empire, it does seem that they were slightly different products. It's possible that liquamen referred to what we're making today, and then garum was made with more of the blood and viscera of fish, and so it was a darker color and more pungent. But it's not exactly certain. And as time goes
Try to
on,
do this.
other words begin to pop up that are referring to
Dungeon.
the same fish
We'll see.
sauce.
Actually, let me go.
Around the year 390, the Roman poet Ausonius wrote to his students thanking him for a gift of some fish sauce from Barcelona. He says that it's called muria,
Is there anything
but
I want in
complains
here?
that the term muria is hard for him to pronounce and that he prefers the older term garum. But by whatever name that liquor of allies is called, I'll flood my plate. This juice, too
Go for
little
the
used by our forefathers,
bracers.
must overflow the spoon. And when he says too little used by our forefathers, he
So
surely isn't meaning
bracers
those people who
and-
lived during the Roman Republic and early empire, because garum was everywhere.
Either the
But
bracers,
by
maybe the
the end
cape.
of the 2nd century,
Not these cloth
garum
ones.
factories had begun to dwindle in the Roman Empire. People probably began having to make it at home or not use it at all as an ingredient. But by the end of the Roman Empire, we see
won't
it
die, trust me.
mostly being
I'll be
used
alright.
as
Gonna go do
medicine.
a dungeon.
It's found in numerous medical texts going
haven't done
back
one
for
yet, so-
centuries, and it could be used to heal burns, cure
This one's
ulcers,
actually,
and even treat
like,
the bites of dogs
way under
and
my level,
crocodiles.
so it's all
And if you're
good. I
feeling
should
a
be
little backed up,
pretty good
garum
for
was a
it, so.
go-to laxative. Again, the bowels are moved by leavened bread, fat small
Go
birds,
there, let me find
snails,
Gert, see what
garum,
happens.
pickled fish, and about 50 other things. Now, Columella says that if your horse is having too much
Kill some
phlegm,
bosses, get some
then
loot.
pouring some garum into the horse's nostril will help to alleviate that problem.
Excuse
A
me?
Garum neti pot.
Garum, that sounds
The first century
terrible.
physician Dioscorides really fanboyed over the stuff, saying that it could treat all sorts of things. If you had
Medical practices
sores
from
in
the
your
ancient
mouth,
world
you
were
could swish
wild.
garum around and it
Absolutely
would fix 'em.
wild.
And garum applied represses gangrenous ulcers in the cheeks, heals those bitten by dogs, and is sometimes given as a suppository for dysentery and sciatica. Fortunately for me,
Suppository
this
of
is
garum?
tasting history,
No.
so a garum suppository is not in my future. But I will be tasting the stuff. So after many hours, all weekend actually, I had finally strained enough liquid to fill a full bottle of liquamen, or garum, the fish sauce of ancient Rome. Now I'm going to taste this garum just plain, but that's not how it would have been eaten. It's meant to be an ingredient. Sometimes it would be made into different sauces. It would be mixed with vinegar to make oxygarum, or oinigarum, which was mixing it with wine. That was a very common way of having it, or else just mixed into like a marinade or something else. But I'm just having it plain. So it smells
I'm gonna pull these guys without pulling all of them at the same
fishy yet
time.
sweet and briny. Interesting. Let's give it a try. Just a spoonful of garum makes the breakfast come up. Hopefully not on camera. Look. Oh, interesting.
That's called a lobotomy, but good call.
Well, that's very, very different than
Good try. I
than
mean,
the other garum. So I've had this before. Yeah, you wouldn't want to kiss me after that. That is potent. But it's almost got some spice to it, like a little burn.
I mean, hey, back in like the
good
fucking
way.
50s and the 40s, they would throw you in a mental hospital if you were
And it's not
overly horny
it's not
as a woman,
fishy.
so
It's
could be worse.
meaty, and it's kind of it feels not acidic. It's pungent. It's just like, and it kind of draws all of the liquid out of your mouth, kind of mouth drying. There's a word for that. Can't remember what it is, but that's what it's doing. Now, what's really interesting is it is not nearly as salty as the other types of garum that I've had, or any East Asian fish sauce or soy sauce, which are really, really salty. This has a mild saltiness, so you're actually getting more flavor than the saltiness, which is interesting. Now, had this garum gone off, I'm not exactly sure how you know if it's gone off, but Apicius says that if your garum has gone off, he has a recipe to fix it, to make it good garum again. The correct garum. If the garum develops a
You're
bad
being a
odor,
psych ward
invert
'cause
an
you
empty container, smoke it with burning bay and cider
like
wood,
sex a
then
little bit
pour
too
in the
much.
garum that has previously been exposed to the air.
If
it
you
is
wear that dress
salty,
too
add
high,
6
you know,
tons
you
of
only
salt.
don't only show off those
Easily
ankles. We're
adjusted,
throwing you in
but
a
that
psych
must
ward where they can
also
throw you in the
provides same
padded
result. Now, if
white
you are
room
cooking
and
from a
scramble your
who
brain
was
like
the
fucking
major,
morning
ancient
eggs on
Roman
a
cooking
Saturday.
author that we still have works from, you need garum or liquamen because it's in almost every single recipe that he has. It's in all of the sauces that he mentions, and when people talk about garum being the ketchup of ancient Rome, it's actually those sauces that they're referring to. People weren't usually just eating the garum, but it's also in savory dishes and sweet dishes. There's even a dessert,
Sweet dishes.
patina of pears, that's a sweet dish that uses fish sauce. And I included
That sounds
it in
interesting.
my cookbook, so I'll probably need to do an episode where I actually make it on the show. So thank you again for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel, and I will see you next time on Tasting History.
Oh yeah. You didn't have mental illness. That's why it's so funny when like certain people are like, "Well, we didn't have autism back when I was a kid." It's like, yeah, because you fucking killed people back then that had that shit and threw them in a fucking psych ward. Or if your kid had Downs when they were born, you know, Down syndrome, you would just let them die. Like, nobody cared about that kind of stuff. So, don't talk to me like it's, you know, it didn't exist. You just didn't want to acknowledge that it existed. I have have a really fucked up sense of humor, but my mental health is usually pretty good.
That's still recharging.
Should be worse, probably. But I'm very resilient to the bullshit. I don't know if that's just from life or from experiences. I don't know. What else we got? Mac and cheese from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. See those? Food. What else we got? What else we got? Hey, you could watch my stream on my stream. That'd be interesting, right? Good content. Good content. Let's see. I love Astrum stuff. I'm a big space nerd.
When you
Let's
peer
pull this
across
up.
the rusted
We'll do
Martian
some
surface through
educational
photos, you would be
science
confident
videos
that
for a little
thinking
bit.
Mars is a place of stillness. Flat, dusty landscapes seem to stretch out in all directions, with nothing but scatterings of rock and the faint whistling of the wind to keep at bay the almost oppressive solitude. But stay a while on this red world, and you will soon see a towering wall of dust and sand brewing on the horizon. You might think to yourself that this dust storm is similar to those we see on Earth, and have no idea that this storm is about to grow so large its thick dust will swallow up not just a region, not just a continent, but the entire planet. This all-enveloping superstorm
Boost my views by just me watching it over and over again. Oh. Alright, we're gonna pause this. We're going into raid, so I'm gonna pull that off screen for now. Alright.
I'm out of range. I can't cast that yet.
Two-hand. Oh, actually. I'll roll for it. Did I get it? I got it. Okay.
It's too far away.
Main hand. Pass. This tank is pretty good. You're gonna put on the serious mode pants here.
I can't cast that yet.
just following the group kill and shit. I've never done these before, so that's usually what I do.
I can't cast that yet. That's still the charge. I can't cast that yet. That's still the charge. I can't cast that.
Pull my details up, see what kind of damage I'm doing. I'm actually second in DPS meter. That's actually pretty good. Especially since the other ones are casters. They should be doing more than me, but no, okay, I'm doing like second. I really don't care. The funny thing is, this is like the early and easiest raid in the game. This isn't even that hard. The later raids get even crazier. This is pretty simple. There's a lot going on screen. Basically, I just stick to what I need to be doing. Basically, is what we're doing here. If I do what I'm doing and everybody else does what they're doing, we're all right. Everybody just does their job correctly, we're good. So there's a healer, there's a couple casters doing damage, and there's a couple melee guys. There's a tank who basically, he has like the highest armor, so he does the all the damage absorption, and the healer is made to, you know, stay on him. I'll roll for those. I got it. Okay. Don't need that. Sick. Got those boots. Sweet. Those are good boots. Exactly. Roll for those. Got those too. Sick. Here's one of the bosses. Need some milk. We're going in. Is everybody good on... Oh, got it. I'll roll for it, because it is better. Gives me more strength, so... Yeah, I'll roll for it. Okay, I got that too. Sick. I'm getting all the fucking loot I wanted. This is great. We have their... Yep, everybody has their... I have to keep track of the, all of the buffs that everybody else has on, because I'm a paladin, so I buff other players. As well as do damage. So I'm just trying to make sure my party has their buffs up as well. I don't need those. Like I said, this is the first dungeon. Like, I'm not super worried about it. I can heal as well as do damage, so. Just bonk things with a hammer on the head. And I also buff all my other characters around me, so my entire party, every time they take damage from anything, they actually reflect holy damage on the baddies as well, so I don't even have to like buff them individually. I just, being around them, I also give them buffs, so. Which is never a bad thing. You get a lot of XP from this though. Ba-ba-da. Do I need those? And these ones, I'll roll for them. Got those too, okay. I'm getting all the fucking loot. Holy shit. People just must be using this just for leveling itself. Was that it? Yeah, that was the end of the raid, I guess. Believe so. Sick. We got a lot of loot from that, actually. Believe I'm good, right? I don't remember how to frickin' leave. I'm gonna be honest. There we go. Leave instance group. Swagma. Oh god, Murlocs. Watch me just die for these two Murlocs because I teleported back into them. You're not allowed to run, bitch. Check out some of this loot in a second here. Alright, so got these. No, I got the blood spattered sabatons of the eagle, which look dumb as hell. They are male, so they fit me for sure. But they're just like feet with blood all over them. That's interesting. And then I got these bracers, which are better than ones I have. They give me strength, which is what I use for my damage, so those will be good. Got a new cape with more strength, which is fantastic, so even more strength. Nice little pink cape. I think that's all I'm going to be using for now that I got from there. I got this two-hand, but it's not as good as mine. What else, what else, what else? I think that was it as far as the boss loot, so... Puts my strength up plus 14 instead of whatever it was before. You just sell this stuff, so we're just gonna teleport back because I don't feel like, should I grind for these guys? Oh, there's no more in the center here, so. Yeah, we're just gonna teleport back.
I supply only the finest goods.
Alright, don't need the food, don't need that bow. Again, this is a little worse than the one I have, so that's money right there. Worse than the one I have. Worse. 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 Can I not bend this? There we go. That's way worse. Do I need more like eyes for anything? I don't believe so. Could sell those. Some scales. So this weapon. Don't need that. Don't need that. Okay. Good. We'll open up these clams, see if I can get any. Just clam meat. Looks like, yeah. I think there's a chance you can get like a pearl that sells for a lot more. Sell that. Sell that. Sell that. Sell that. Okay.
Safe travels.
Cool. 31 gold. Did my first dungeon tonight in Classic WoW. That's awesome. Turn that off. There we go. This is so dumb. Keep your clam as a companion. I can get pets, actually. There's a lot of stuff to collect in this game, so... If I go into collection here, these are all mounts that I can collect. So there's stuff like dragons, horses, hippogriffs, which I really want a griffin, actually. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember which exactly. Like, these griffins are super cool. Always loved griffins. Oh, what up, Stomp? Yeah, I've been playing WoW for like the past week and a half. I watched BlizzCon, and I got really excited, so I started playing Classic again. Season of Discovery comes out in like 15 days, so. Let me check the pet journal, actually. Let's see if I can get a clam. I can't get a clam. Crab? Can I get a crab? No. Oh. Here we go. There's a crab. You can get a crab as a pet. Or crawdad. Little dude. Mounts? I don't know if there's a crab mount to be... I mean, that's kind of a crab, right? There's just normal horses. I believe the charger is... So the paladin actually gets a quest at a certain level to get his own horse for, like, really cheap. So I'm going to probably wait for that. There is a crab, so you can get a... It's a good game, right? Yeah, it's done, but I used to play a lot when I was... not a lot, but I played like on and off when I was a kid. So, yeah, I feel you on that one. I know people have their reasons. I understand them. I won't judge them for it. I like the game, so. They've had some change of, you know, owners, change of CEO, change of a lot of managerial stuff, and their new content they're pushing out really seems to be player focused and stuff. So I'm excited for the future. It's looking good. Not saying that it will be good, but it's looking good right now. So cool mounts. Oh, that proto Drake is really cool. Motorcycle. Flying head. Look at that. Nether Drake. Oh, that's sick. That'd be really cool for my Warlock. Yeah, Michaela judges me for everything. She tells me everything every time I die. Oh yeah, Diablo. Yeah. Yes, Michaela, I love seafood. Okay, leave me alone. There was some updates on Diablo and BlizzCon, but I didn't really watch them just because I'm not really interested in Diablo, to be honest. See, Michaela, seafood is amazing. You can stop judging me. We just watched a video of how they make garum, which is the ancient Roman fish sauce. It's just fermented fish sauce, and she was cringing the entire time. See what kind of pets can we get? A little puppy. Chicken. Just get a man, a squire. I need a squire. I'm a paladin. I need a squire. Kitty. Yeah, I didn't even play Diablo, honestly. I used to play like Diablo 2 and 3 a little bit. I didn't play a ton, to be fair. But they had some issues, obviously, and Diablo 4 looks great, and it looks like the combat's fun, but I've just heard that everything else is just a shit show, so I just don't even want to pay for it or try it. Just a skull. Nice little owl. That is a fat ass head, dude. Jesus Christ. Get a frog, a 3-pixel frog. Just one thing that might put in perspective. There's a 4 different stats for cold or ice damage, and none of them work together. What the hell? Oh yeah, Michaela, I'm pretty sure every Blizzard game has microtransactions, so don't doubt it. Okay, yeah, cosmetics is fine. As long as it's not pay to win, cosmetics is totally fine. Or pay to get power. I don't give a shit about cosmetics. Yeah, of course Michaela's down for microtransactions. You see how much she fucking tips me all the time for just being an absolute degenerate idiot? Alright, what are we doing? I could move on to Duskwood now. I'm leveled enough for it. Or should I just finish with these quests? I'll just go start killing Murlocs. Fuck it. Alright, Stumpy. Talk to you later, buddy. Yeah, man. Go to sleep. Alright, let's have Goog sleep. Big Goog. I should be able to beat Dead Mines now, honestly. I mean, Dead Mines is the next dungeon. 17 to 25. I'm only, what am I, 18, 19? 19. I should be fine. Fuck it. We run it. We ball. I need better gear. I played Apex for a bit. I love Titanfall and Apex in general. I don't like battle royales. I just can't do it. I played a lot in like PUBG and shit, so I just can't play that stuff anymore.
You were so foolish walking into the pit. Thinking I was just gonna sit back and take your crap one more time, man.
It's a good song. I love the song. Yeah, I love their movement and the gunplay. I just can't do the BR anymore. I'm really excited for Titanfall 3 though.
That's my meal. That's my meal ticket. You see, but what I've been living on just don't fill me up, Hulk Hogan. So I gotta have a little bit more. I gotta.
Yeah. It's pretty cool though. You're good at shooters, but it's funny. I remember you talking the other day, like Baldur's Gate was just like hard for you in the beginning. It's funny. You could run around and shoot people in the face with, you know, millisecond reactions, but you can't figure out which fireball to cast at what person. Oh no, your wife left you. Hide your kids, hide your wife. But hey, now you just have more freedom to spend money on other games with microtransactions, and then it's okay. Leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. I don't want to fight you. I can beat the shit out of you. Okay, you want to go? Let's go. You wanna fucking die?
We need to get closer.
Yeah, we'll queue up for dead mines. We'll see what we can do. Oh yeah. It's probably better for your mental health to stop playing Apex. Me and a couple of my friends played on launch for like a couple weeks, but we all just kind of faded away after that and stopped playing it. You know my name. Oh yeah, I know. I don't really sweat in games anymore like that. Me and my friends played Rocket League for, I don't know, since it came out. We literally started playing it like the first week it came out. I got up to like high diamonds, early champ. I was pretty good at it, and I just kind of stopped after a while. Played other competitive games, like played CS, you know, Counter-Strike a lot. What else? Got the Kunai. Got the Wraith Kunai. Oh, is that one of the knives? Ah, they're gonna pull all that fucking aggro. God damn it. I'm gonna die here. I'm gonna totally die here. Yep. Okay, we're going in. We're just going in. We're gonna go run. Everything's attacking me. Everything's attacking me. I pulled all the crabs. Not the crabs. Not the crabs. I have potions. We're good. Oop. Alright, kill you crabs. Fuck your crabs. Oh, it was the knife? Okay. You're fucking lucky then. I've played Counter-Strike for, I don't know, 10 years. Never have a knife. Yeah, I would be shitting my pants after that. I can't. So if you're a hunter, you can actually have a pet. I am not a hunter. So any beast in the open world, you can just pick one and tame them. Like not these humanoids, or like not a humanoid or nothing, but yeah, I know. What the fuck? Have a pair of tits, and the fucking gaming industry just gives you everything you ever need for the rest of your life. Some of us have to grind for that, alright? Some of us have work for what we have. Might have been. Do you watch Lily too? Womp womp. I watch her a little bit. I actually watched the schooled episode today live on OTK. Lily was there. It was Lily, Ludwig, and some other streamers that I don't really know. So like if I was a hunter, I could since these are beasts, I could actually tame one of these crabs. You watch trash. Yeah, me. Who the fuck you talking about, Sarah? Oh, rapper. I just put on a playlist, like a public playlist. I was like, I don't know who you're talking about. We're just grinding. I'm in the dungeon finder for dead mines right now. What I am trash. No, he's pretty good. I've heard him in other stuff before, for sure. Alright, stop fucking casting and die. You dumb fucking Warlock. Get back here. fucking kill you underneath here. Bitch. Time for some milk. Of course, we have 3 DPS for dead mines, but no tank or healer. My Spotify Wrapped is just so all over the place. Because I listen to shit like this, and I'll listen to freaking country, and then rock, and then dubstep, and EDM, and rap, and some pop here and there. It's all over the fucking place. It's the pop punk and fucking metal, heavy metal. Like, when people say they listen to everything, I literally listen to everything. Pop is like my least favorite genre. There's some bangers, but it's probably my least favorite. Oh, I'm about to die. Okay, we're good. Some bandages. Oh, yeah, playlists. Let's see. I don't really organize them. I just throw everything to one playlist because I'm a fucking psycho. Let's see. My library is... I'll check on my phone because let's see here. It's 1,214 songs, which is probably not that long, but don't know how long that would actually be in time. Be a lot. It would be a lot. I need to go up there. Might as well go turn this quest while I'm down here. When does the Michaela? When does the Spotify Wrapped come out? Is it just at the end of every year, like around December time frame? Awesome him this month. Okay. Cool. Cool. See how fucked up my playlist is, or my listening is. up there now. Kill these little fucking murlocs. Almost level fucking... Almost level 20. And I could finally buy a freaking horse. Cause this walking shit's for the birds. Alright, what loot does Dead Mines drop? Alright, let's see. This is less strength, but more DPS. So... offhand, I don't need a shield. I'm not using shields. I'm using axes. Cloth. That. Finger. There's intellect. I don't need that. That's for mages. I'm attacked by a fucking wind demon. Yes, exactly. You have to be an adult, able to drink, stuff, to actually be able to ride a horse. There's a requirement that you are drunk at all times while riding a horse. Oh, is this hammer better than the other one? Can't remember. This is a list of all of the loot in the next dungeon that I'm trying to complete. 83, 68, 15, well, 18. Okay, so this is way better. Yeah, okay. So I want Smite's Mighty Hammers is the big one that I want. It's more like progression. Like, you start off, you're just low level, you don't really do much damage, you know, you're fighting for your life out there, and as you get progressively higher, you get better spells, better... It's kind of like Baldur's Gate, you know, you get better spells, better items, better gear, the ability to, you know, buy a mount and ride horses and collect all these, you know, these cool mounts. You just need to be a high enough level to actually use them, basically. This is leather, so I don't really need that. Agility, stamina, I don't really need that. Agility, spirit, stamina, spirit, strength. I could use... it's actually kind of worse. It's only leather stuff, never mind. Cookie has... nothing that I need. Basically, the only reason I would be going here is for Sneed's, or not Sneed's, Mr. Smite's hammer. It's a very good weapon compared to what I have now. And then that's basically it. Miner's Gate. Oh. We're going into Dead Mines, let's go. This is classic WoW, so everything's a lot slower, but yeah, normally it is. Yeah, you would get very bored with this game very quick. We'll roll for that. Got that, I guess. Sick. While drinking and eating. Mail. Better strength, I'll take that if I can get it. Dude, everybody just give me the good loot. Always giving us good loot. It's upgrades, it's upgrades, that's all that matters. Level 20, I'll be able to get AoE damage, so I'll be able to actually kill a lot of these big groups of people, which is good. Wow. I didn't even see that person there. Give me a smoosh. Trying to get me to the tavern. Yeah. Want to buy me a nice drink. Nice pint of grog at the tavern. Oh, we just pulled him. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of role-playing in this. There's actually an RP server. There's not like a ton of role-playing going on. At least not in like the circles that I travel in. But I've heard of people that RP, like getting married and all that shit. But I've also heard of people that like meet other players on here, and then like in real life they actually get married. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I went back because that was part of my quest that I needed to get while I was in here. Yeah, exactly. I don't judge people for that kind of stuff at all. Like, if you find a game that you love to play together and you found passion, you know, through it with each other, then fucking send it. Little weirdo. We're all little weirdos in our own right. But I'll never say nothing's gonna save me. So they say. Warrior, yeah, that's level 19 warrior. as well. I really like warlocks, honestly. Their stuff is, their gameplay is interesting for sure. Those. Hell, them offhand, don't need that. You either have to unlock them somehow or buy them. I'm not 100% sure how to get the pets just yet. I don't need those. He's level 23. I need more fucking DPS spells. I need 20. Well, I actually just reached 20, so I should be able to actually.
Check out that noise.
Yeah, I had to check the game stores. I'm not really sure.
Avast small. Repel the invaders.
Oh, hermit crab? Yes, they do. Hermit crabs are sold in pet stores. Yes. You need to find them. Usually little aquatic stores or like fish stores will definitely have them. I've actually always been I've been really invested in like aquariums and stuff. I want to make my own saltwater aquarium at some point. I'm dreaming about hermit crabs. That's awesome. Hermit crabs are cool. We have a pretty good healer, pretty good team dynamic going on here, so. Hermit crabs are pretty easy to keep, though. You just feed them, obviously. Oh, there's Mr. Smite. One of our guys just fucking died. That's not good. We just lost a man. It's okay. I can revive him. Ow. I can revive people because I'm a paladin. Bring back people back from the dead. Yeah, he got fucked up. Just pulling all these fools. Ooh, I'll take that. Cool. We should be getting in. The last boss is up here on the top of the ship, so we're almost done here. That fucking red paladin is doing way better than me. He just knows what he's doing. I just don't know what I'm doing. take them, whatever. Nobody answer my fucking question. Boss, if you don't have AoE. Alright. So I'm gonna make sure I just keep going up. Killed dead mines. Sick. Completed dead mines. Don't need that. No. No. That's kind of a shit fucking pole. That's really annoying. Cool. We can get something better than that, but... Alright. That is Dead Mines complete. I can always go back to get more loot, but... got some alright stuff from that. Let's see. I got... it's -2 strength. Oh, that's way less armor. Okay. That's more strength, more agility, so that's better. Pants, no. Got a better weapon, got better pants, or better cloak. What else did I get? I think that was it, realistically. I included a quest too. Where's that quest go turn in again? Is it in Stormwind? What do I turn this into? Retrieve the garden. Return to Stormwind. Yeah, okay. Cool. We'll head back to the capital. Sell some stuff, get some levels. Now since I'm 20, I can buy a horse too, so that'd be nice. And then after I do that, I'm probably gonna head off to bed because I am a little bit tired, but thought I would just level, do some dungeons tonight, and I got to level 20, so that's actually really good. I think I started this character yesterday, I think. The other day. I'm the only member of my guild online right now. Interesting. It's 12 o'clock on a Wednesday. Most people have work tomorrow. I do not, so.
Where are you going?
Take a Griffin ride
Looking
back
get
to
there quickly?
Stormwind.
Look no further.
Hollywood Underwood, or Jesus Christ, I can't speak. Hollywood Undead. That is a throwback. Listen to this band in like fucking middle school. God. This stuff is not, this music is not aged very well. Now this is aged very well. Shit. Move your around. Do you feel better now? Sell some stuff.
Browsing my wares, or is there something specific I can help you find today? See you later. Best deals in all of Stormwind, my friend. Won't find any better. Now, what can I help you with? Have a good one.
I'm gonna train it real quick.
May the light protect you this day.
Okay, so I have a lot of spells. So this one. Okay, so this is an AoE spell, so I definitely need that. Exorcism is good. I mean, I have enough money to fucking do all these, dude. All of these. Oh, here we go. I forgot, I get my Warhorse set, level 20. 31 silver. Easy.
The Alliance.
Awesome. So now I have a horse too. So now if I go collections, I should have a mount. I'm a warhorse. Sick. Let's get there. Set my keybind. It's not it. Okay, it's somewhere right before that. There we go. Cool. I need holy consecration 4. And then exorcism will be 5, which is fine. So I can AoE, cool. So now I get a horsey. Finally.
How are you? Edwin Van Cleef, you say? I would as much expect a letter from my dead grandfather. So you killed him then? Pardon me insane, but I'm somewhat surprised. He was a peerless fighter in his younger years. Let's see what he finds that leads to write these about for so many years. Edwin, I see that you are an idealist as ever, and a romantic. He doesn't care who he hurts, adventurer. Revenge has consumed him, but then, I'm not sure I can blame him. Van Cleef and I were members of the Stonemason Guild. Our main project was to rebuild Stormwind after the war. When we had finished our duties, we were cheated. The nobles refused to pay us for our work. Some of the more senior of the Stonemasons were offered governmental jobs, but Van Cleef refused it out of loyalty to all the Stonemasons. He led a riot and left the city, swearing revenge. His lieutenant, Basil Thread, might know more about Van Cleef's plans. He's being held prisoner in the stockade.
Well done, adventurer. Thanks to you, No Reagan is one step closer to a day of liberation. It's terrible, adventurer. We are not going to have enough parts to get our fleet of gyrodromatic excavation agents to Dundee.
It's way better than the stuff I have right now, so those are going on.
What better place to get the spare parts for our vehicles than No Reagan? I hear that Boston mechs roam around that place like cattle on an open range.
I'm level up now. One into Seal of Command. Or melee attacks deal 30 additional holy damage. Yeah, these are better. Go return in that quest. And then that'll be good for the day. Talk to the people in the castle. There's something down there that's not supposed to be there. Stockade, dungeon requirements 15, 21 to 80.
What in the life do you want? Can't you see we have a crisis here? Basil Thread! Why would you want to speak with that bastard? How am I supposed to know you're not one of his cronies? Come down to help with his bloody riot. If all the blasted cells weren't open, I might throw you in one for a while.
Kill Basil Thread.
I don't trust you, but with the situation as it is, you probably won't make a difference.
That's up fucking level
So here's
30
how it's going to be. Go
raid,
down
so that
there, have
won't
your
work.
talk with Thread. If you're really on our side, then kill him and bring me his head when the job's
think
done.
it's-
And if it turns out you're on his side and don't come out, you'll die
We got a lot done today, actually. Got some new gear, leveled up to level 20, got my mount, got all my AoE spells, more heavy damage spells. Doing very well. I'm gonna go to the mage quarter. I'm going the wrong way. I think that's where I'm going to log off for the night. It is what, 12:30, so it is a late night. Why does that always happen? This always breaks. All right, homies. Well, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Thanks for chilling. Thanks for watching. I will be going to bed. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing editing in the morning. And then, like I said earlier in the stream, I might stream in the afternoon with Teddy. He might be joining us as well. I'll talk to him tomorrow, see if he wants to play something. A couple ideas. Different games, some that more might be interested in. So, if you guys enjoyed the stream, remember to like it, please. If you aren't already, you can subscribe. I have some more content, specifically Baldur's Gate content. When Season of Discovery for World of Warcraft comes out, I might actually do some content on that as well on the side. The Baldur's Gate content will not stop, so I appreciate y'all. I am going to get to bed. Love you guys. Have a good night. Take it easy.